All right, we are live. We are live. Look at us.
It's Monday.
Another week.
Happy
Happy MLK Day.
Monday. Yes. Woo, 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 woo. Shout out to MLK, Mr. Martin Luther, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I like how you did, Junior. That was. I like that. That was so cute. I like that.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. And shout out to real quick, and then we're gonna obviously get into this week's
Get into
conversation.
the show.
But
Look at
you
my
know, I love the posts and the beautiful quotes.
I know.
But do people really be reading some of this man's quotes and what they really meant? And
I don't know. I mean, for me, the one quote that I liked that I've saw plenty of times seemed to have said Facebook today was like that's not a accurate quote or they can't confirm that he said it. I've never seen that in my life on Facebook. But I don't know. I have a really interesting theory about or behind Dr. Martin Luther King and his I would like that's people like really I legitly would love to have a conversation with him. I'd be like, who would you want to talk to? I would want to really talk to him. Because I just think his theory on what is it? I forgot the no harm or I forgot what it's called. I can't think right now. But anyway, yeah, his whole methods. I just feel like sometimes he was talking more inner than he was outer. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are people
Yeah,
really reflecting on his legacy and his works? Because it starts within
it's
first.
within.
Um,
I agree. So I really would love. That's why I would really love to have a dynamic of a conversation because too we I took a trip. I'm gonna make it short. We took a trip to Atlanta and we did some of the sightseeing in his space, like his house and all that stuff. And one of the older people or the older guys that we talked to who've been working in the museum for a while talked about his legacy as his like parents and grandparents and the movement and how it started really in that space and how he was around a strong foundation of black excellence and he said that's not the light is not always shedded on that part of him and it's just what he did but it was like it started long before him. So I
mhm.
think about when having that conversation with them I really again was like yeah I think some of that movement probably was more inner than it was outer but I don't know girl. I don't know. And how would you know? Because people like to
I know that.
redo. Yeah, I know. I don't. Let me not. We not gonna.
No, we're not gonna go there.
We're not
But
going
y'all out there know what we talking about.
there.
But I hope that folks really are taking this time to really reflect and figure out how can we as a collective, but again, it start with us as individuals. So hopefully people really have taken this time in this day to really reflect on individually, how can I really do what we need to do to make this world a better place. So I
Yes,
don't know.
starts with you. That part.
Okay. It's our. So, but are you ready? Are you ready for the week's rundowns, shenanigans, whatever you want to call it? Are
Well,
you ready? I'm ready.
shout out to the rundowns and all this good information that you about to shed light on. Come on, girl. Let's get it. Let's get it.
So, last week, shout out again, Councilwoman Phaedra Nelson, City of Ferguson. Shout out to her for gracing our platform. So, we was talking about, I love y'all county people. We was talking about y'all. Y'all had the show last week. So we're going to kick off this week talking about the city. Okay. And it was busy. It was a lot of ish going on. Yeah,
Man.
it was a lot going on. But the first highlight again, y'all, the road to the final 14 has officially kicked off with 39 people have filed to run. But before I even get to that, I want people to understand the road to the final 14. The city of St. Louis is going from 28 wards to 14 wards. So I want to show, I know I try to use, so what you see to the left is the new map. But what I'm going to do is we're going to do this together here because the map cuts off. So I kind of wanted to show people, because there are a lot of people I talk to out there in these streets and they don't know what this new map is giving. So literally, if you Google City of St. Louis, new map, new ward map or whatever, you will be able to access this map, the new redistricting map. So I just kind of want people to see, again, I couldn't fit this on the slide appropriately, but I want people to see this is our new map. Like it, love it, feel indifferent, this is what it is. So,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
I would highly suggest y'all to definitely go look at this map and look at some of how some of these areas are mapped out. It's really interesting. So
extremely, especially when we get up north here. So south, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and kind of 9. But I mean, I live in 9, but whatever. Those are predominantly white wards, y'all. A lot of them, some of them are, right? And then when you go to basically part of 10, and then all of 11, 12, 13, 14. So you have 1, 2, 3, really 4, maybe 5 wards. That's the north side, y'all. And again, look at the map, because these boundaries are cray. They're very interesting. So if you can, please check it out.
Yes. As a not a city resident and who kind of knows the area of the city, I would highly say please go check that out.
Please check it out.
And I mean, because you were able to like zoom in and see the Ville and King, what was it, King West? Yeah, you were able to see specifically what when you see the colors like the green, what it covers, with the purple or whatever, what it covers. And I mean, even looking at the map though, like I know Ward 4, it's a smaller color compared to, I forgot what ward that was, the green ward. Is that Ward 13, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stretches compared to Ward 4 and Ward 2 and Ward 3. And so I just would say Ward 12 is larger. So I just would say, please go look at those. And be aware, because it's like I said, no matter how we feel about it, I'm not a city resident, but it's done now. So unfortunately, and shout out to the people who's gonna be serving those wards, because oh my god,
yeah, it's crazy. It's gonna be interesting.
I hope they give them the support they need as these wards have widened. But I know that's like
we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's
we'll see. No, we'll see. I mean, I think what is really most important too, and y'all can look at what's on the slide, but I think what's interesting to me is that you have over half of the people that have filed to run, they're not current Board of Aldermen members.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, and for people that aren't aware, it ain't 1 but 2 elections, y'all. So the primary election is on March 7th. And that's when in each ward, the 2 candidates with the most number of votes, they will advance to the general election. And that's April 4th, I think. And then, you got both of those folks battle it out. And then whoever wins, they will represent that ward. So I just want people to know it ain't 1, but it's 2 elections now. It's 2 elections. And President Megan Green, president of the Board of Aldermen, she's running unopposed. Ain't nobody running against her. So the leadership for the Board of Aldermen is set. And yeah, and I mean, some of these older people, they're gonna be facing off. You have, I think it's the 13th ward. All 3 people that are running are current Board of Aldermen members.
Really?
Yeah, so that's Alderwoman.
Because their ward has been already combined into the same. Wow.
So you got Alderwoman Walker,
Walker,
Boyd, and Middlebrook. All three of them, they're gonna have to run against one another.
That is crazy.
So I mean,
that an area that once had 3 representation or representatives now goes down to 1. Wow.
So it'll be very interesting to see how the road to the final 14, as I call it, how it shapes up. Please, y'all, follow Transform 314 on Facebook, on Instagram, on here too, if you haven't already done that, because we're going to be covering this extensively. And we kind of want people to know, and we want to have that dialogue and exchange so people are informed about what's going on. Now, speaking of being informed about what's going on, we talking about all these wards and stuff. Make sure you know what ward you live in, what your new ward is, my St. Louis City fam. So again, Google is your friend because these city websites ain't user friendly. So Google is your friend. Literally, you can type in St. Louis City ward lookup, bam. You will come across this, click it. And then in that box, it says, you enter your address, put in your address, and it will show you what your new ward is. Please do that so you know what the hell your new ward is. Please do that tonight, this week. Okay? If you hear my voice. And then after you do that, tell a friend, and then have that friend tell a friend. Tell everybody on your block. So everybody knows what's going on. And yeah. Because we're going to have to help each other with this information, honey. That's all I got to say.
And you got to know who you're voting for. So that's the start, right? Well, and especially if you got so many people running. So trying to keep up with all these folks. So, yeah.
That's the start. And again, if you follow Transform 314, I promise you I'm not trying to do no shameless plugs or whatever. But we posted all of the folks that have filed to run. So once you find out, okay, you know what ward you stay in, whatever, whoop-de-whoop, you can head over to Transform 314 and you can find who you're going to vote on. So
go, y'all. Go get that info.
Lord help us, to be continued. Speaking of the SLDC, the St. Louis Development Corporation, y'all, these people, they ain't playing around. They are launching new policies and procedures when it comes to folks that want to develop and they trying to get tax incentives from the city of St. Louis. And y'all know, what I'm saying? They was in some hot waters, what I'm saying? The feds and that wire was dropped, what I'm saying? So they had to take a step back, reassess, pivot, shift, what I'm saying? Because people were side-eyeing them. So
which they should, though. I mean, you need policies and procedures to make sure that things like such and such don't happen. So I think this is a good step in starting in a new direction and to hopefully be able to, how can I say this? Start a process of gaining back trust from community. Mm-hmm. Because again, when things like those things happen, that's when again the community begins to that, like, see, they gonna do what they want to do anyway. That's why I don't vote and blah 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 blah. So I think this gets back to a space of them trying to hopefully being transparent about what's happening. So shout out to them for starting that, because I think it's needed.
I'm telling you, it's a start. And so I just wanted to show this real quick for folks because they have recently launched their Economic Justice Action Plan. Again, Google is your friend. So if you want to learn more about specifically what they're talking about, you can do so. And basically their plan is really looking to make sure that they're being intentional about investing in the north side and also some of the neighborhoods on the south side, because some of them mugs is real as hell too. So they really want to make sure that they're not doing the business as usual when it comes to development, economic development in our city. So shout out to them for trying to do something different. So speaking of doing something different, what are these? What policies? What are they trying to really do? So St. Louis Development Corporation folks, they appeared during a housing, urban development, and zoning committee meeting for the Board of Aldermen to say, "Hey, y'all, we've been working," and so I wanted to play a clip. You know, I'm a clip girl. I wanted to play this clip for the people. And speaking is Zach Wilson. He is the director of incentives for the city of St. Louis. And I kind of want y'all to hear his words as far as them kind of getting these processes and these new policies going on. He kind of breaks down how it worked, because it didn't happen overnight. They've been working on this for a minute. So I want to play this clip for people to get a sense of what this process really entailed.
This process started over a year ago. We had focus group surveys from all across the different types of groups, St. Louis Public Schools, CDCs from North and South City, critics, Board of Aldermen. So we had a wide, vast interest groups that were put information into this. Well, we contracted with Baker Tilly. It's a nationally known company that delves into government affairs, financial institutions. We kind of looked, the first thing they did was delve into what we were doing currently and looked at how that was best practices with other similar cities across the country. And what they found was the financial piece was okay. They beefed up the cost benefit analysis and return analysis a little bit. But our major thing was the community benefit scorecard. They found a lot of communities across the country have a scorecard, but it doesn't have much teeth to it. So what we are doing here is providing a scorecard at the beginning of the process. And with that scorecard, that basically tells the developer if you pass or fail right off the bat, and also sets the maximum amount of abatement you can receive moving forward. So it's clear, it's precise. Not only the developer understands it, but the public will understand clearly also.
So I wanted to lift up some of the things that Mr. Wilson said. First, again, they've been engaging folks. They said they did focus groups real quick. If anyone is out there watching, listening, I know we got at least one person that's watching right now live. Anyone out there on the internets, if you participated in the focus groups and in some of these engagement efforts, I would just like to know, how your experience was with that. So
you said they've been doing this for a year. Interesting.
But I will say I remember getting an email, I think, about a focus group from them. It wasn't a year ago though, but I remember that. So, and I couldn't make it because of my schedule. So
a year ago started this process. That's interesting.
I know a year ago. Hey, what's up?
What's up, Charlene? Hey.
Thank you for joining us as we talking about what's happening in the city of St. Louis.
That part. But that's interesting. Again, kudos to them for starting the process. I'm with you though, a year ago, and I would love to know who engaged in those focus groups. But yeah, let's see how this continues. What process and policies they formulate for that.
Right. Sorry.
No, you good.
Bear with me, y'all. I couldn't make this larger, but I kind of want to also play, because again, what this process entailed, listening to community and other groups, schools, et cetera, about that. So they listened to the people. Then they took a step back, hired the experts or whatever to kind of give them an assessment of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And then they mentioned this community benefit scorecard. So we're going to get into, again, but what is this process when we're talking about these? If I'm a developer and I submit an application, I'm trying to get a tax break from the city of St. Louis, he walks through that process. So I kind of wanted to provide a clip of that because it's interesting. It's interesting to me, but I'll share it.
So the first, I'd like to go through the process overview. This process overview, where hopefully will be adopted by the LCRA board on January 24th. So I'd like to come back later on, probably after January 24th, to get more details on everything on what just was approved by LCRA. But the initial process would be the application. Then the community scorecard would be next. Then the rate turn analysis, cost benefit analysis. Rate turn analysis, basically what the return to the developer is acceptable or not. And the cost benefit analysis, basically what's coming to the taxing districts, is that acceptable? Then the developer vetting and the development negotiations and neighborhood engagement. Neighborhood engagement would be different per the size of the development. The larger the development, the more neighborhood engagement would be. Larger developments would require a certain amount of meetings. Smaller developments, probably just a neighborhood letter would be acceptable. But steps 1 through 7 would be all done before even the project gets to the LCRA board and the Board of Aldermen. So by the time you guys would see the project, we would have packets of how the tax information in with the board bill on how this project scores in the community scorecard, community engagement, developer vetting. All these would have little summaries with the board bill. So it would be a complete package. So there'd be no second guessing what was this project moving forward. And after passes the Board of Aldermen, we would have a development agreement on any project over $1 million. Projects over $1 million have minority compliance requirements, prevailing wage requirements. Another thing we found that these are two very good programs the city runs and requires on these types of projects. But our neighbors around us do not have these requirements. I like to point that out. And that kind of is a disadvantage for our projects, but it's a huge benefit for our residents here. So we need to be honest with ourselves that when we require these, it's extra demands on a developer. And cities like Clayton and Chesterfield do not have these demands. So we had to be clear and upfront with that type of reasoning on when we do these type of things too.
So I know Mr. Wilson said a lot. I just want to highlight a couple things for the people. First, this is a draft. So what he's talking about, they haven't finally approved this stuff. So, but this is the direction they're headed in. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, he said, and I know it's really small on the screen, but some of those steps he mentioned, including this community benefit scorecard, which we'll get to that in a few minutes, and also neighborhood engagement. So he's saying all of those things would take place even before, when the Board of Aldermen, they have their board bill to discuss this development, they would have all of this information packaged to them in a nice little bow. Here you go. This is how these projects scored based on our scorecard. We did neighborhood engagement. This is what the people said, which that's important and interesting.
That's very important. I like that though. I love that. I feel like that's accountability as well. You just can't come in here and say, "Oh yeah, we want to put this in here and we need a tax." Yeah,
that part.
You have to do some work to get that and show that it's worth us giving it to you. So I think that's a great process.
And everyone knows what it is. The developers know what's going on. The community knows what's going on. In the Board of Aldermen, when they approve these joints, they know what is given. So everybody is clear on the process and how it's supposed to go. Something else I did want to lift up, he mentioned, because we live in this region where we're so fragmented. He said that, our neighbors, so other municipalities, they don't have similar requirements when we're talking about handing out these incentives. So again, doing that engagement, those community benefits. Also, I know he was mentioning the minority and women business enterprise requirements, which is, I think that's great that they're really being intentional about looking at those things. So he's saying, look, now, I'm just letting you know, these developers know ahead of time they're gonna have to do some extra work if they want to get any tax incentives from the city of St. Louis. And I think, I'm here for it, but again, he's also saying, like, some of these developers, they might not want to go through that process. They might not want to do that extra work. So
and that to me means that you probably don't need to be there then.
That part. So I mean, it ain't for everybody.
That's me, but
it ain't for everybody.
It ain't for everybody, right?
But I think that is very encouraging. Something else that came out in the meeting, he didn't mention this in the clip, but they said that there will no longer be developers getting a 100% tax incentive. You heard me. That ish ain't happening no more.
100%. Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, that ain't happening no more though. That ain't happening no more.
That's to even give someone that though. It's like 100%. You ain't paying none.
Well, it ain't happening no more. So
shout out to them because that is crazy.
So I did want to mention, because there's this talk about the scorecard. What is on this damn scorecard, right? So they're mentioning shout out to Charlotte on that. There are two different scorecards. There's one for folks for residential, so people that are building housing, apartments, stuff like that. And then there's also another scorecard we'll look at in a second that looks at commercial development, so businesses, retail, that type of a situation. Yes, girl, unfortunately it was a thing. So looking at the residential scorecard, so again, the higher the amount of points, then the more favorable this development will look, right? As far as supporting the needs of community. So the things that are being, let me plug this in so I don't go. Sorry, make sure my laptop doesn't die here. So, so the priorities, again, it's a maximum of 127 points. And it looks at things like capital investments, walkability, transit access, minority or women-owned business, geography, different things like that. And so the highest point are affordable housing, because there is an affordable housing crisis in our region, but especially in the city of St. Louis. Geography, meaning that more points will be given to projects that are north of Del Mar, you know what I'm saying, on the north side, and probably also some of the communities on the south side. That's real too, because there's some real looking neighborhoods on the south side too. And then the public infrastructure improvements. So that's lighting, doing something with these jacked up roads, sidewalks, that kind of thing. So those are kind of the highest graded things, right? Subjects. So we're going to go real quick to the commercial scorecard. So there, the total amount of points is 102. And, this includes things like jobs, existing vacant building renovation, facade improvements, walkability, transit access, all of that. Again, if you look at the highest graded priority or whatever, geography again, That's 30 points.
And that's weird that it's the highest though. Like there's nothing else in here that's in that.
I know it's high. I mean, right. Ain't nobody competing with that.
That's crazy. But okay.
You got geography, but I mean, I guess it also points to, again, their economic justice action plan. You know, they say that they want to focus on areas that have been historically ignored and disinvested in.
Yeah.
So, and I think, okay, I see your question, infill development. I want to say it's, I guess, maybe additional development to filling out some other like parcels, vacant parcels. Miss Hughes, I believe that's what infill development means, but I could be wrong. I am no subject matter expert with development. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about it, Shavanna? I think this is a good start. I'm happy to see what comes from this. It seems like they're trying to do something different with saying, nah, this development business as usual-ish. Nope. We ain't doing that. They're trying to be intentional about development in certain places of the city, and not in the Central West End or the Central Corridor. Yeah. So what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like, you know, you want to be hopeful, but you also know history. And when we start being intentional about certain things, we sometimes be too intentional and it drives certain people out, people that are in the community. So when we talk about development and all of those things, that's a touchy one. Because you want your community to flourish, but you also don't want your community to be wiped out at the same time as it flourishes. So hopefully, with the intentions that they have, that the people who are already there are still included in this space when it becomes the new thriving space that they inspire it to be. I guess that's my only concern.
I agree with you. That concern is real. And I don't know, maybe we can have St. Louis Development Corporation appear on our little program here to provide a little bit more information about this economic justice action plan and how, to your point, they'll work with community, and not try to displace them, because we know what it is, unfortunately, in our communities. So to be continued, fingers crossed.
Gotta keep us updated on this one.
I know. So, y'all, personal story. So, you know, I attend all these meetings, and the Board of Aldermen meeting, they met for the first time in the chambers in a minute. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go 2023 first, you know what I'm saying? Meeting of 2023, you know what I'm saying? So I go in, sit down, you know, in this old ass building. City Hall is old as hell, y'all. I mean, it's old as hell. And them seats are not comfortable. And I'm not that tall, but it would, whatever. I'm going to leave that alone. So I'm sitting there. The meeting started at 10. At 10:20, 10:25, the president of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green, she's like, yeah, we're going to take a 1 hour recess because we need to print all of the bills. And we need to have them at the alder people's desks. So we're going to take a 1 hour recess to print all the bills. So I was like, well, damn. So shout out to Alderwoman Shamim Clark Hubbard, because I texted her because they made an announcement that they had some like coffee and donuts or something in their break room. I was like, yo, can you hook a sister up, because I'm gonna need some coffee or something in this mug if I'm gonna be waiting around. So shout out to Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. And I got a behind the scenes tour of our Board of Aldermen and how they function, y'all. It is not glitz and glamour. I seen it. Had some very interesting conversations, though. That's a whole other story. Maybe I'll write a blog or something about it. It's very interesting. Very interesting. But shout out to all the older people that entertained my questions and stuff and showed me all the behind the scenes work, and shout out to them. But y'all, that recess was over 2 hours long.
So hearing you say that this was like the first time back into the chambers, I wonder if that's why they probably didn't have it in order, because maybe they didn't have to do that process for a while, because everything's been kind of virtual, right?
Yeah, everything's been virtual. I will say, I think part of the issue was there were like 10 board bills, because they have a timeline where you send the clerk your board bill. I think they said it was by Tuesday, and then it shows up on the introduction of bills, order of business, right, on the agenda. However, there were 10 board bills that were submitted like, I guess Friday or Thursday night or whatever. I don't know. And so I think that was the issue, was those 10 bills that were trying to be added and introduced. And it was like over 100 pages that the clerks had to print off for 20-something people. So that was a lot. But I don't know, whatever.
That is definitely a lot.
It was over 2 hours.
Man.
And so I ended up leaving. They resumed the meeting a little bit after 1, and I ended up leaving. And shout out to the other people that was in the galley with me. Shout out to them brothers, because we just regular citizens.
Kind of thug it out.
So I didn't stay the whole time.
Who had time though? Who had time to sit there while they got that real like? Again, Kelly, this, I know you do this, but this also is kind of like a job for you. Who in reality has the time?
Nobody
to sit in these spaces.
Nobody.
While y'all figure out how to print out.
Nobody. And
I be talking about people ain't tapped in. People ain't got time to wait, y'all.
Yeah, that was I was a little hot. Because it was just whatever, things happen, but that was just a bit much. So because I left and I had to grab an adult beverage after that.
Thanks to the wine.
Anyways,
they should have been giving out wine.
They should have been giving out something.
A little happy hour,
a little something. Shoot,
gas I don't know.
Let me not.
Don't get me started.
So anyway, that's what they have been doing, girl. That is what they have been doing. They have been reviewing the bills digitally. So, I don't know. Again, I'm an outsider, so I don't know what's going on. And that was hella paper, y'all. That was hella paper. Hella paper. So anyway, so I watched the replay of the meeting, and I, because I didn't stay in the flesh the whole time, but something I did want to lift up, one of the bills that was introduced, if passed, would change the process of how ward capital funds are distributed in the city. So a lot of people aren't aware of ward capital funds. So ward capital funds, basically the voters approved it in the early 90s when I was a little short fry. And basically it would take a sales tax of 0.5% and the money that comes from that goes equally to the 28 wards. Now, I think recently that dollar amount that each ward gets, we talking about $300,000. $300,000 a ward. And the aldermen of the ward, they have the power to decide where the money's spent and how it's spent. Now, you can't just make it rain and spend it however you want to, willy-nilly. The money has to go towards fixing things like, fixing some of the jacked up streets, providing lighting, putting up speed humps, whatever. So those types of things, that's where the money, it has to go to. And $300,000, if you blink twice, if we talking about infrastructure, that money gone.
That's why I was like, ain't nothing about around community engagement. But anyway,
and that's what I'm gonna get to. So the alder person doesn't have to. They don't have to. There's nothing No, there's nothing that says that they have to engage their constituents on how the funding should be spent. It's their money. And I've listened to a lot of meetings and I've heard, yeah, this is my money. So, I mean, is it though?
So what else would you be using it for? Talking about it's your money. What, you gonna pay your bills with it or something? Like what? No. Okay. Anyway, that's great, girl. Oh.
So, and we know that all the wards ain't equal when it comes to
and you talk about equally. $300,000 somewhere else could make it more just beautification, where 300,000 in our areas, like you said, I ain't even covering the potholes. So clearly, that equally is Good
luck. So this new process, the coins will be allocated by ward based on need. Direct quote there. And the St. Louis Development Corporation would assess these needs of the wards, looking at some of these items I've listed here: median household income, poverty rate, education attainment, unemployment rate, and vacancy rate. And so I guess based on how wards rank within those areas, that would determine how much of the coins the ward would get. So the ones that are the most in need, when you're looking at those scores, they will get more ward capital funding.
But is it still the process of your alderman being able to dictate where it goes?
Yeah, and I'm not sure on that. I haven't read.
You just gonna put more money in somebody's hand that says that this is my money?
I haven't read the bill because it was one of those newly introduced bills on Friday. I'll see if the bill's up online yet to really see if there is some type of a process, because I agree. I don't. For me, one of my issues with the funding is it's like it's their money and they can do whatever they want with it. Obviously, they have those parameters, but still, like, you're not talking to your community about like
what they want to see in their area, and because you're there to represent anyway.
But you have folks that say the people elected me to represent them. So,
which actually feels like that it means they don't have to engage with them because they know the answer.
Because they know, because the people elected them. Clearly, the people elected them. So of course,
and half the time, ain't nobody even trying to vote. Let me stop.
Of course, they know what's best for their community, because
they probably do know for the people that voted for them. That little 200 people.
Stop it. Oh,
I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're right. But I'm just telling you, that is what I be hearing.
I can only imagine, though. I know these folks.
I know, but to be continued on that, y'all. The ward capital.
Don't be laughing.
It's the truth. She know. That's why she laughing, because she know what it is. But again, the bill was introduced. So these next 5 weeks that the Board of Aldermen have to meet, y'all, it's going to be very interesting, because, and also that bill came out of the conversations that have been had by a special committee working on figuring out how this transition from 28 to 14 wards is going to work. And there were people that testified during the committee speaking to the needs of them kind of, revamping or doing something different with this ward capital funding. So I guess they was listening to the folks that had something to say. So I don't know. To be continued, Shavanna. To be continued.
That just gives us more to talk about,
girl. But again, change. If we're gonna be talking about equity, we really have to apply that lens to how everything. So,
but making sure that we also have the power play and involving community. I'm still a little stuck at that. You can give equity, but in the money, but if your power structure ain't trying to share power,
what good is it?
What good is it? So that's what we have to again talk about, people being engaged and voting people in. That can be very beneficial to see this. So,
girl,
I know there's levels to this. It's levels to this.
Levels to it. So we'll keep
Speaking
y'all.
of levels,
I know St. Louis County. So I know we
got several different levels of government.
Lord help us. So St. Louis County, y'all. So
my county folks.
Yes, the county council had their first meeting of the year last Tuesday. And with their first meeting, they always vote on new leadership. So the St. Louis County Council elected Miss Shavanna Webb from the 4th District as chair and Mr. Harder from the 7th District as vice chair.
Ain't he new though? He's new.
Harder?
Yeah, he ain't new.
No, he ain't new. He been there.
Why I feel like I just seen him? Because it's usually the other guys that I'm, kind of strong and
Trake. Yeah.
I don't think I remember seeing him. I don't know why, but okay.
Well, you'll be hearing more from him, I'm sure, as vice chair.
Now as the vice chair, I'm sure too.
And we talked about this too, how maybe we can have Chairwoman Webb on to speak to her role, her leadership role, and what does that really entail, and how will that
influence
prioritize North County.
Come on, girl. North County needs you.
Let me make a note here. I got all these notes of who we need to invite.
North County needs you. We need to be prioritized now.
Hello, we got this leadership. Let's make it work.
Some equity and over here in our space. I want me some good access to food.
Anyway. I know. So we'll invite her. I'll be sure to reach out to see if she can maybe come to one of our shows and talk about this leadership role.
And not even just that. I think she is over there doing some stuff around food. What is it? Food deserts in our area.
Food. Improving the food environment and working with Black farmers and growers. So.
Shout out
that was interesting to get an update on that too.
I agree. They do need some fresh eyes and ideas. So I agree with that. Hopefully, and I mean Dems are still majority in St. Louis County.
Yeah. Democrats still have
shout out to you, Charlene.
They still have the so we'll see.
This our year. This is come on 2023. Hopefully St. Louis County gets some fish together. So
we'll see what happens. And also I did want to lift up Councilman Hancock. He is newly elected to the 3rd District. He replaced Councilman Fitch, who decided not to run again or whatever. So Councilman Hancock, he's the new guy that you will see. And I think he used to be a mayor of Fenton or something, I think I read somewhere. So I'm just a little background on him. That's all.
That's interesting. Well, welcome to the shenanigans.
You're right. Welcome to the show. So the last thing, as far as St. Louis County is going on, I know we've been talking a lot about the city road to the Final 14, which we will be covering extensively. And also, though, there are plenty of elections in all the other 53 million municipalities in St. Louis County. So please reach out to your municipality. Give them a call. Go to City Hall. Do what you got to do. Go online. Do all of the above so you know when the elections are and what you'll be voting on. Because we are all about making sure people are informed before they head to the poll. Not Googling stuff while they, but they know what's going on well beforehand. So please, this is January. You blink.
April gonna be it. And matter of fact, we in the middle of January. Can you believe that? It just started 2 weeks ago.
Oh, damn, you're right.
We is in the middle. So January is almost over. Time is flying, you all. So yes, April will be here, and you need to know what you're voting on, what's happening,
Please.
what's going on.
Yeah, make sure you do that. And something I did want to lift up, I have been seeing across the board. Quite a few municipalities, they're gonna be voting on the 3% tax on recreational weed purchases. Now, we talked about, everybody know our state, the people spoke, and we voted to legalize recreational marijuana in our state. And also in doing so, I know the state, they gonna tax it because they gotta get their money. And also there's the opportunity for local governments to impose an additional tax for their cities. So obviously it's quite a few. And I think the city of St. Louis, because I know they perfected a bill unanimously, meaning all of them agreed on it, which, shoot, these people agreeing on everything these days, that's rare. So,
that is rare. But that's money, because they know that's going to generate money.
Yeah.
They've been seeing it happen. Shout out to Colorado, Vegas and Cali. So they know money finna come through.
True. But my question is this: where's the money gonna go?
That's my question. Then been my question for the longest. Especially when we looked at it and talking about that fund. I really think. Don't even get me started on public schools, but I really think that would have been a great opportunity for us to really dive into supporting public schools and quality education and what you said again, like our streets and infrastructures. And, we talk about how, some people don't have access to quality internet. And so I just think that would have been very much, because it's going to make, let me tell you something, baby. My 420 friendly folks out here, they blowing. They ain't playing. So it's going to make money, okay? And so I definitely think that we should have been very strategic about using that to build up, and probably specifically those underserved, under-resourced communities. I'm going to just say that. But maybe I'm biased because, I'm all about them underserved and under-resourced communities because I am from that. But anyway, so yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. But I am gonna start asking people about that I know, like, where's the money going?
Where's the money gonna go? Good question. I think that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get an answer, but I'll ask it.
It's their money, Kelly. Why you want to know? It's their money.
What is my money?
It's money. Why you asking?
For real, dead ass, y'all. Y'all think I'm making this up? I'm not. So yeah, y'all, that is our show, really.
Yeah, that was a lot, though. There's a lot going on.
It is,
and it's just the beginning of
the year. We are just at the beginning of the new year, yo. There's still a lot, the road to the final 14. There were 10 new bills that were introduced. And they had to be introduced on Friday in order to be passed before the Board of Aldermen go on their break. And some of these bills they was reading, I'm like, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of passionate debates. So I'm sure we'll probably have like some clips from Alderwoman Tyus, the OG, on here. I have a feeling you will be hearing a lot from her on our show with some clips.
She's very passionate.
Extremely. And then the county, I mean, we have some, some interesting elections coming up.
Yes.
And did any of them mention assisting Annie Malone? I haven't heard, girl. So, but again, the need, right? The need. So do you have any special announcements, Shavanna?
No, I mean, just keep tapping into the Hood Talks podcast. We are in our 3rd season. We do need guests, so definitely follow us on social media. Reach out if you're looking to be a guest. That's pretty much. I mean, girl, I'm just rolling with the punches. I still can't believe we at the beginning of 2023. So I'm just excited about this year, though. So much to just be done. So shout out to shout out to 2023.
Yeah, shout out to 2023. Speaking of
Good time to be engaged.
speaking of new things happening and cooking and brewing, y'all out there, please, please, we will be live and in the flesh, okay, in person on Monday, February 6th at the Contemporary Art Museum. Yes, mama, we made it. Um, we will be having this conversation. So please come out. We're gonna be feeding people because you know it's a Monday night and it's February, so we gotta bring it all out.
Gotta
And
eat. Gotta eat.
our special guest, Mr. Big Esco, he will be on the ones and twos, provide some mute. So this is gonna be
Go DJ. Go DJ.
So shout out to him, Big Esco, aka Ryan Brown.
Big Esco.
So and he's very interesting. So
Very interesting.
Who knows what the hell he gonna say? And I'm gonna have a conversation with him and tell him, look, bro, like
don't do him, and let people know, right? Because you won't be able to see that live. Am I right, Kelly?
That is correct. So we will
have
not
to
be
see it in person.
No, we're not doing that because you need to be there. Okay, because this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be one for the books. And then we also want y'all to engage. We'll probably try to limit our little spiel and try to really allow more time and opportunity for our audience to ask questions, provide their suggestions and comments. And plus, you never know who might be in the building. I mean, I'm making friends during 2-hour recesses and stuff. So, I mean, you never know who might be in the building.
Yes, you definitely making friends.
Girl, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So that's it for real for our show. We covered a lot, but we did it with style and grace. And without either one of us being canceled. So
we just at the beginning of the year.
So thank you. Shout out, Ms. Hughes. Thank you so much. Shout out to you.
Go check out. Let me make that announcement though.
Yeah,
go check out Charlene Hughes on the Hood Talks podcast recently. Shout out to her. In the position she holds down at the County Prosecuting Attorney Office. Shout out to Wesley Bell.
Yes.
All of them over in that good old space. But definitely check that out. That was one of our most recent episodes. So shout out to her for being a guest. Appreciate her. Appreciate her tapping in on Monday Night Live.
Yes, and doing the work. Thank you.
She's very fun. I'm glad that she's in the space that she's in. Knowing and getting to know her through the segment, it was really great. So great personality, really got a heart for the community. So I'm so happy that she's in the space. So
yes. So that's it, you all. So please be safe out there. We will be back here next Monday at 7. Let people know what it is. And until then, peace.
Deuces.